Good evening everyone and welcome to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City, Mexico. I'm JamesHead14. This is not the plan that I had in mind. This is obviously going to be a video being uploaded later, which is a shame. So I ideally want to get this race live streamed, but please forgive me. I am all new as well to League of Europe for Division 1, and as you can see, Lewis out on top in qualifying ahead of Montana and Rafa in second and third there. Rundown of the order in qualifying, in case you haven't noticed. Lewis with a 113.3 going top by 2.5 tenths. Montana second with Rafa in third. Montana with a 113.6. Rafa with a 113.7. Marquez is in fourth in the Red Bull on 113.9. Then we've got QVR FC Game Boys with a 114.2. Cantera with a 14.3. He's on a set of mediums, you can now see on your screen. QVR Maledictus is 7th with Owen HV in behind in 8th. Larkin in 9th, Bullet Boy in 10th. Just to pick out that Owen and Bullet Boy are on the set of medium, the yellow wall compound of tyre. LOE V5HRL is 11th with Rick Kirkic in 12th, the Finn. Juman 13th, Xjari in 14th, and then we've got Decky there in 15th place as well. And quite interesting strategies here from the bottom 5, and interest in the strategies. Xjari and Decky opting to go for the white wall tyre, the harder compound of tyre, while the medium compound of tyres are for LOE V5HRL, Rick Kirkic and Doom, so they're on the medium compound tyre. But we are about to get underway for Lights Out very shortly indeed, and here we go. Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez about to begin. I think we might have a bit of a glitch going on with Lewis. There we go, 5 red lights and are about to go out for the final pre-season race here in Mexico, and it is lights out and away we go, and a very good start there by LRT Lewis. Rafa getting jumped off the start, Montana dropping down early on, but Lewis gets the break off the line. We're seeing plenty of lag actually coming from the guys, which is not great at all. We've seen plenty of these things, and there's been a crash in the background. Larkin and V5HRL involved there. Xjari caught up with that as well. 5-second penalty there for V5HRL, but Lewis is away through turns 1, 2 and 3. Rafa in second, Marquez is in third, Montana back up to fourth. He briefly dropped down to fifth. He's got Game Boys all over the back of him on the soft compound of tyre. Cantera and Owen HVB, the Spaniard, goes around the outside of Owen and he's up to P6. So nice stuff. A little bit of Constantine effect there with Rick Kirkic and Maledictus. Decky's moving up the field early. He's up to 10th place, of course, starting 15th. Didn't set a time in qualifying. Trying to go around the outside now into the S section. Not quite. Maledictus holds that position. But back out in front, and Lewis lead, they're 10th of a second as they come into the stadium section for the first time. Of course, this stadium section used to be a baseball stadium, now transformed into part of the F1 track, and there is the grandstand to prove it. But Lewis is out in front, 10th of a second, and looking good so far, with Rafa in second, Marquez is in third, Montana in fourth, Rafa dropping down in fact. And there's a lot of lag. There's a lot of lag being picked up here. I think we've got some desyncs going on here actually. We might have some desyncs going on out on track, which is just a shame. I'm not sure if it's coming from my end. I'm not sure if it's been experienced on anybody else's end. But Lewis, beautiful camera angle that is. That's a fantastic camera angle of Lewis. But he is out in front of that Red Bull. Rafa in second, Marquez is in third, Montana in fourth, Game Boys and Cantera to go through the first sector once again on lap 2. And I'm not sure if people are picking up on this, that there has been a glitch going on. I think there might be a glitch going on actually, but I'm not sure. Well, let's continue. But Lewis out in front, with Rafa in second, Marquez in third. I'm so sorry I can't give you any split timings at this stage. It looks like it's all broken itself. Bullet Boy, Larkin and V5HRL must have got caught in a bit of contact. We saw, of course, with Larkin and V5HRL that they got caught up in contact early on. So they're down, they've already been into the pit. But Lewis, at the end of lap 3, leads the way from Rafa in second, Marquez is in third, Then we've got Montana in 4th. It's only 4 tenths off. The timing to fix themselves, thank goodness. FC Game Boys in 5th. We've got Pantera all over the back of him on a set of mediums. Let's see if he can get him running down the straight. We go on board now with the Spaniard, trying to get the Portuguese guy, and he's not going to attempt to move down into turn 1, Cantera. Not attempting. They could get the one out of turn 3 though. Of course, DRS will be enabled next time around, really. And Cantera, and that's a lot of lag going on, and again, a lot of lag being picked up here. I do apologise. Hopefully this is not my end, as Cantera goes storming down the inside of Game Boys and gets that move done. So Cantera up to P5 in the Renault. Good stuff. Game Boys in 6th, HVB in 7th, Rikirkic in 8th, Maledictus in 9th, and Jum in 10th. 4-car train being held up here to come into the S section. But Lewis is still out in front, 9/10 of a second, doing good for the ILRT team. Rafa in 2nd, Montana in 3rd, and Marquez for VSR in 4th place. And then there's a bit of a gap to Cantera, who are on board with his teammate at the minute, his Spanish teammate Jum, trying to go for a move into the stadium section on Maledictus, who runs wide as a result. And Jum now coming through the stadium section right on the back of him here. He's right all over the back of him. He is stonking at the bits, as we like to say, as I like to say in my commentaries for Shearer. We could see a possible move for 2nd here. Montana getting closer to Rafa running down the straight. Obviously, Montana did qualify ahead of Rafa and was quicker than him down. As we see, overtakes being done. Rikirkic has gone past HBB and Maledictus, and Jum battling out through turn 2, and Jum ran the outside. Nice position in the car there by Jum, and he gets the move done. But Maledictus is going to have a run back at him, I think, and same with HBB. Right on the back of Rikirkic. Not quite, and Jum. Another bit of lag being picked up here. I do apologise by this. Of course, we are experiencing there have been issues being experienced here with possible servers and PSN issues and what have you, but we'll still continue. Lewis, Rafa, Montana, Marquez's is the top 4 at this stage. And of course, if you haven't realised what the Mexican Grand Prix is all about, let me tell you a little bit more facts. Mitch Emery won here in Season 1 for Division 1. He sadly not competing in this race, but Mitch Emery won here last season, and that's Season 1 in fact of the League of Europe as well. Of course I'll try and take you through the running order as it stands. We're going to be expecting to run in the league this season, but Lewis out in front. Rafa's crawling all over the back of him now. Those soft tyres for Lewis may be just starting to go. As we see 3 wide pretty much into turn 1, HVB and Jum getting past Rikirkic. So Rikirkic actually losing 2 positions there to Owen and Jum respectively. They're on the medium compound of tyres, Rikirkic also on the mediums, but obviously some sort of mistake or front wing damage was being made there for Rikirkic to lose 2 positions to Owen, HVB and Jum. Maledictus getting under pressure from Decky. Of course, he's made 4 positions early on, started P15 on a set of hards, didn't qualify, just knocked into the back of Maledictus slightly there. And Bullet Boy is not on the back, that is actually Jarry on the back of him. Bullet Boy, Larkin and V5HRL are in a private battle by themselves in an all different race as Decky attacks the back of Maledictus as we come into the stadium section once again. But they come through the stadium section, the leaders, on the exit of the stadium section. Lewis has pulled that gap out. It's now 7/10 of a second. Of course, DRS going to be enabled once again this lap. Lap 6 out of 36, and Lewis leads from Rafa in 2nd, Montana in 3rd, Marquez is in 4th, Cantera in 5th, doing best of the medium runners at this stage. There he is in the Renault in the background. Rafa now coming or trying to pressurise Lewis into some sort of mistake down into turn 1, but keeping that line very nice. Just getting caught on the curb slightly. We're seeing Jum going past Owen HVB in the background, and he gets the move done. So Jum is up another position, flying through the field. He's up to 7th, and he's got Game Boys right on his back tail. In fact, Jum is catching Game Boys here at the minute, but the Renault driver just pressurising Game Boys a little bit. Of course, soft compound of tyres for Game Boys. Of course, Game Boys is the Dutch driver, Jum the Spaniard, right on the back as we see the helicopter cam here as they come through the S section, which I liken to the S section at the Circuit of the Americas, and possible affiliation to Maggots and Beckett's there as well. Got Marquez's on the back of Montana as well. And in fact, a four-way battle developing for the leader teams. Lewis trying to get away, Rafa managing those tyres well. Montana and Marquez is third and fourth at this stage. 3-second time penalty there for Game Boys. Must have run wide coming into the stadium section. Doom trying to put his car up the inside there at the stadium section. Not quite pulling off that move. We are going to see quite a lot of action as Game Boys is going to come into the pits. So the Dutch driver into the pits in that pass. Maledictus has also been overtaken. And in fact, Maledictus has lost a few positions there. He's gone back past X-Jarry, so something must have happened further down the order. But Lewis, of course, qualified on pole, 13.3 with his time, and he's doing a great job out in front. Rafa in second, Montana third. Marquez's reserve driver filling in tonight for Yay 123. I think that's his name anyways. I'm going to call him Yay. So he's filling in for the Red Bull driver, the normal Red Bull driver here tonight, and he's doing a good job there as a reserve in fourth place. Of course, better known as Old Ends, of course, to the league racing community. But Lewis out in front. Rafa just making some little bit of a mistake there, the German. And Montana begins to pressurise him as he loses the back end slightly there, Rafa. And now Montana will begin to sense that Rafa is under pressure. And Montana can now sense a bit of fresh blood ahead of him. Marquez is in the background just sitting. Cantera beginning to catch as well. Very quick driver Cantera, the Spaniard, and he's right on the back. Oh, he's starting to get right onto the back as we see the first round of pit stops, and in fact, second, third and fourth come into the pits. Or Marquez's nearly into the back of Montana. But top three at the top four are in. So Rafa in first. He's going to put on a set of mediums. Set of mediums as well for Marquez's, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's a set of mediums for Montana either, and it's not. It's a set of mediums as well for Montana. As we see, moves down into turn one. Rick Kirkich has gone past Owen HBB. That's for fourth place now out on track. On a set of mediums, Lewis the only one out there on softs at this stage, and he currently holds the lead by 3.3 seconds. We can really sense Cantera starting to get close. There's his teammate Doom in the background as well. As Owen HBB tries to nick it down the inside of Rick Kirkich. The Finn not having any of that and positions the car very nicely. Decky is already up to 6th. Let's see the position changes then as we come through. Of course, not taking into account that people have been making pit stops. Lewis has stayed where he is. Cantera's made 4 positions. Doom has made 10. Rick Kirkich has made 8. Owen HBB has made 3. Decky has made 9. And X-Jarry have made 7. Of course, that is going to change. Most positions lost at this stage. Montana with 8 position losses at this stage. Game Boys on 6, Rafa, Marquez's and Maledictus on 5, Larkin there on 5 as well, V5HRL on 4 and Bullet Boy on 3. And that just to prove that people have been coming into the pits, and in fact Lewis from the lead, no surprise, he responds to the 3 pitting in behind him. So Lewis is in from the lead of the race, and that is a set of mediums. Hopefully going to be trying to get to the end here, Lewis, as he is out of the pits. I thought there was a bit of a glitch going on there for LRT Lewis, but not quite. He is out of the pits nicely. There he is. There's Rafa. This is going to be very close, and Rafa's passed him. Marquez has passed him as well. So it looks like Lewis is going to be coming out ahead of Montana, and that is in a net P3 at this stage. So Lewis out in a net P3 just behind his teammate Marquez's. Will they work as a team, or will they work as bitter rivals? VSR and LRT coming up against each other here in League of Europe Division 1. But we're a quarter of the way through at this stage. Cantera now leads. Doom in second, 1.4 seconds off. Rick Kirkich in third, Owen HBB in fourth. Decky and X-Jarry, they're yet to pit. Rafa has jumped both Marquez's. He was ahead of him coming into the pits, but Marquez's has jumped Montana in the pits as well. And Lewis has really bit the bullet, if you like. And he's, he's dropped 2 positions at least from first when he came into the pits as they run slightly wide. Marquez has taken a much wider line there compared to Lewis. The 2 Red Bulls come under pressure. Owen HBB getting close to Rick Kirkich coming out the final corner as well at turn 17. Of course, 17 turns here in Mexico at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. But Cantera leads. Doom in second, Rick Kirkich in third. Owen HBB in fourth, and he is coming under some sort of pressure now, Rick Kirkich. Owen HBB around the outside. Rick Kirkich lets him through, and he's through. Owen HBB up to third place ahead of Rick Kirkich. As we see both Red Bulls going side by side here. Marquez is getting overtaken by Lewis down the straight, and it's easy stuff for the LRT driver. He's up to 8th place, but that is 4 net seconds. So Lewis is ahead of Marquez's, and Montana beginning to come right on the back as well of the Irishman. Lap 10 out of 36, Cantera leads, but that's a reduced margin because Doom is only now 0.6 per second off. V5HRL is back into the pitch for his second stop. Not sure what is going on there with V5HRL. The shine coming off the tyres, that is not blistering occurring on the tyres, that is just the pure shine of the tyres now on this game, and they've done a really great job to obviously take this to the next level in real life as well. So full credit to Codemasters for this, and from the sense of it, very good action out on track as well. As we approach lap 11, is Cantera or Doom going to come into the pits? No, they're going to both battle for the lead, the two Spaniards. This is going to be very interesting. Cantera and Doom for the lead of the race. Looks like it's going to be a one-way street, as Doom is going to go past Cantera with the DRS very easily indeed. He is through as Lewis sets the fastest lap, 1:16.1. Larkin picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That was done through the S section there. Cantera's coming back now at Doom. Of course, there is only one DRS detection zone, and that is at the end of the third sector. So that is at turn 16, the DRS detection zone, just in between turns 15 and 16, just out the stadium section. Rick Kirkic getting close to Owen HVB. Lovely camera shot coming from the helicopter cam here. And full credit, of course, to the cameramen, i.e., well, not me this time, sadly. But Doom out in front, Cantera second. Rick Kirkic pressurising on HVB, coming through the S section now on lap 11 out of 36, and it is looking quite close. And in fact, Lewis has got the bit between himself, and he's beginning to close in on Rafa, the German, taking a much wider line, neater line actually there by Rafa, and he gains a little bit of time. He gains 3/10 through the S section, so just piles on a little bit more pressure to Lewis, who is a second down on his personal best at this stage. But Doom is out in front, Cantera second on HVB, out in third place at this stage. Just looking at if there's any update to the what's happening with YouTube. Nothing happening with YouTube at this stage. Hopefully it will be sorted by the time this video does go up. As Rick Kirkic gets close to Owen HVB, he's going to attempt to go for the move down the inside. Hardly giving him any room, but gets the move done as Marquez has left the session. Marquez has left the session, Odense has left the session. So a bit of a disconnect going on there for Marquez, as he's been overtaken by Montana, and he'll inevitably be taken by the rest of the field, I would hope. But Lewis getting very close to Rafa. Is he going to go down the inside at the end of the first sector? He will. He commits to the car. Rafa holding on and positions his car nicely. Switch back though, as we see. Yellow flag in sector 3. That's for Larkin. Decky and Rick Kirkic are getting going in behind, in front of this as well. Is Lewis going to try and go around the outside of Rafa? He is, and Lewis has got the position. Lewis up to P7, brilliant move by the ILRT driver, by the Brit, and he has careered that round the outside of Rafa, who just looked like he settled it, sort of. And he settled that Lewis was the quicker driver. But look at the traffic they're coming up towards. This is Owen HVB, Decky, Rick Kirkic, X-Jerry. This is not ideal for the leaders, as we see Rick Kirkic going off track. He's going to get out of the way. He rejoins on track quite dangerously. Rafa contacts him. Nothing much Rafa could have done there, to be honest. Rick Kirkic, a little bit of a dangerous rejoin, if I've got to be honest. But hopefully that'll get taken to the stewards at the end. Lewis has gone past X-Jerry in the meantime. He's got the run, and Rafa is closing in, and side by side down the straight, Rafa has got Lewis as he ran the outside of turn 1. Now on the inside for turn 2. Rafa, the German. Lewis on the inside. Great defending by Lewis, and he holds him off for now, but Rafa's got the speed out the corner. This is going to be side by side down towards turn 4. Rafa trying to go around the outside of Lewis again, hard on the brakes into the first sector, but Lewis hanging on to the position, and Rafa just sensing that X-Jerry is on the back of him, and he wants to hold up Montana in the meantime as well. Montana trying to get a switch back done on X-Jerry. Got the quicker tyres, he's got the inside line running into the S section, and Montana is through on X-Jerry. Gets the move done. A little bit of lag there, but I think it's more to do with the servers than anything else. So Montana is through, and he picks up a 3-second time penalty there as a result of a slight corner cut. So Montana is up to P5, but yet there's still more traffic ahead for these front guys. These net leaders, Lewis, Rafa. This is all helping June in the meantime. Cantera has came into the pit as well. He's came up behind Rick Kirkic. Marquez's AI still going round in front, and Doom in fact is into the pit. So there is Doom into the pits. That's a set of mediums to the end. It's a one-stop strategy for the Spaniard in the Renault. But let's put our attention back to this three-way battle for the lead now. LRT Lewis goes past, and here comes Rafa. Rafa's going to sense a move here. Rafa trying to go around the outside of Lewis. Not quite, and he lets Lewis career into a deeper line through turn 2, and he keeps the position. Lewis still in P1, but now the net leaders now becoming the leaders out on track as we approach the halfway stage as Montana right on the back of on HVB. He's going to break very late on a HVB, does not put up a single fight there. And Montana is up and he's through to P3. Xjari in the meantime has not came into the pits. Let's just reflect on the pit stops that have been made. We haven't had Xjari in and we haven't had on HVB in the current 4th and 5th out on track. But Lewis is ahead of Rafa, Montana in 3rd, Marquez is disconnect, whatever you like to call it, really hindering his chances. And sadly, I don't think there's any point in him rejoining, to be honest, which is such a shame. In the meantime, Xjari on the back of own HVB as we approach the end of lap 14 out of 36 laps, of course, here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, in Mexico. And it's all good stuff at this stage. Very clean. His own HVB comes into the pits and Xjari is freed. Rafa getting sensed at a move by Montana. And Montana, NSX Montana now trying to go around the outside of the Swiss man on the German. And he's got the move done. Montana, no fight there shown by Rafa. We are seeing Marquez has joined the session. So Marquez is back into the session. His name has disappeared. So he will be joining back very soon. Now there is normally a glitch when it comes up that people are rejoining back. Hopefully that has been fixed as part of the recent patch 1.05. But Lewis out in front, Montana second, 9/10 of a gap currently between himself and second place. As in third, Rafa, 5/10 off, German. Xjari still yet to pit, so completely for him at the equations. Game Boy's in 5th at this stage. Let's just reflect on what tyres everyone else is on. Game Boy's on a set of mediums. Obviously, he pitted a lap earlier than the leaders, so he's going to be coming into it near the end, I would think, with a set of possible another set of mediums. As Decky has gone past Marquez's, and he is back into the session. Marquez is now taking control of his car, it seems. It's no longer ghosted. So Marquez's we're on the back of Decky, who has now gone past. So it's got to be all sensed up, and it's got to be a comeback of the century, really, for Marquez. It just loses control of the car slightly. Up 16 out of 36. Lewis leads, Montana second, Rafa in third. I'm just going to check on something, if there's any live streams going on. I hope that there's not any live streams going on at this stage, which is a shame. It's a real shame. Obviously this was supposed to be a live stream. This will be put up in due course, but it was out in front. Montana getting close though, 5/10 of a second, as we see Doom right on the back of his teammate Cantera, and Cantera under some sort of pressure from his teammate. Obviously I don't think there'll be any team orders here for the Spaniard, as on HVB has gone past Maledictus. And that is down at the end of the first sector at turn 4, coming through a nice twisty section into the middle sector. And on HVB is ahead of Maledictus on a fresher set of tyres, so no surprise that he's gone past. Maledictus now down into 11th place. And of course, if you're wondering for a little bit, if you're a factoid out there, and if you're a fact geek like I am, and I'll just repeat myself, fact geek, not fat geek. If you are one of those people that do like your history, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez was actually inaugurated. This layout of the track was actually inaugurated in 1963, 71 laps normally, circle length of around 4.3 kilometers in length. 118.7 is the current best, set by Valtteri Bottas in real life, of course. The best time, I think, was set by Onyx Mer last season in qualifying for season 1. I'm pretty sure on that, and Mitch Emery went on to win the race in League of Europe season 1. On board with Marquez's now. He's right on the back of Decky. Marquez's on 9-lap all mediums. I was going to say the softs there. So 9-lap all mediums. He has just recently rejoined the session as well after a disconnect. Not sure what happened there with Marquez's, but doing a good job nonetheless, as we see both Reynolds ahead actually getting closer to Game Boys, who was struggling on those sets of mediums, and possibly going to come into the plan of pit stop very soon, I would imagine. Halfway stage though here in Mexico, and out in front it's Lewis by 0.5 of a second. Montana constantly hassling him though. He is a lap older on the tyre front, as June is going to try and attempt up a move here on Cantera. Not going to aim for the move, and I don't think any ERS was used there down the straight. June trying to hold that back for the second half of this race as we enter the second half of this race. Let's go back on board with the battle for the lead. There's Montana pressurising Lewis. He's 0.6 off at this stage, coming through the middle sector. Now through the S section, or approaching the S section now. Lewis is 0.7 in front, has got the measure of Montana at this stage. Rafa has been not constantly losing time, he's just been gradually losing the time to the front too, which is a shame really, because I would have loved to see Rafa being in sort of this. He could get it on the tactical front, as we see a yellow flag in sector 2, and it's Game Boys running the S section. Game Boys running the S section. There's Decky and Marquez coming through shot. Not sure what happened there, we were busy focusing on the front too. So Game Boys is round. He's got own HVP on the back of him as well now, which is going to be costly. I highly imagine that Game Boys might have lost control of the car on the curb. And looking at it, he's been out on the marbles as well, so that would make sense. Montana getting constantly closer now to Lewis. ILRT, Lewis and Montana, 0.4 of a second at this stage. Montana using the DRS to great effect. He has got 50% of ERS left, but a relatively similar figure as Montana tries to see a look down the inside of Lewis. Not quite, never going to put the car quite there. Juma's through on Cantera, slight bit of loss of control there by Cantera, but Juma's through and he's up to P5. So Juma's up to P5 on Cantera. Decky and Marquez's are 7th and 8th at this stage, as Marquez is going to launch one down the inside. Not quite. Very sensible there from the Irishman. And Decky holding him off for now. He runs out wide, and in fact that's just a left through. As what I can call a left through, and in fact he's left the session, has Decky. Decky leaving the session. That's a shame. Clearly having some sort of issues here with some sort of with the connections here tonight in Div 1. But Lewis leading. Everyone's still continuing on nicely, and it looks like the lag has certainly stopped from what we had earlier on in the first 5 laps, especially of the race. There in front, it is Lewis who leads Montana in 2nd place at this stage. 0.5 of a second. Cantera's dropping off June now by 7 tenths. 6 tenths running down the straight, that is. And Lewis out in front, holding his nerve and holding his pace. Decky's AI is into the pits. So shame that Decky has had to leave the session. Not sure what reason why the disconnect is starting to occur. I can't see anything that is of note. Apparently there are people getting kicked off the online services, so I'm not hopefully this race ends and then we'll be fine. So it might be a wider PSN issue that people are experiencing here tonight, and that is probably why the PSN why we can't connect to the stream, of course. But obviously this video is going to be up. Lewis, 0.8 of a second out in front. Montana in 2nd. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. And I'm just trying to see who that is, and it's not one of the leaders. Is it X-Jarry by any chance? It might be X-Jarry who's just dropping off, and he's right. He's got Doom all over the back of him, Cantera all over the back of him as well. So X-Jarry into the pits. So we have lost Decky, obviously with AI troubles now, with connection troubles, which is a shame. But Lewis is in, as we see Montana on the back of Lewis. This is for the lead of the race. We have lost V5HRL as well. Larkin is also at the race as well, which is a shame. But Lewis out in front 0.5 of a second, 21 out of 36. This is going to be very constant. They are going to have to pit again. They will have to pit again as a result. But Lewis is out in front, Montana 2nd, constantly hassling, and that gap is just staying consistent at around 5.5 tenths at this stage. Lewis obviously probably sensing that he's got the measure of Montana at the minute, but he doesn't want to be too cocky and a bit too brash here. He doesn't want to throw it into a wall or anything like that. Lewis is just managing his tyres well, and that's what I like to see. We're on board with Montana though at this stage. They come in Baseball Stadium once again, formerly the Baseball Stadium. Again, another yellow flag in Sector 1, not sure what that is for. I have a feeling that might have been for V5HRL, who I think might have retired coming in the pits. And speaking of coming in the pits, Lewis is in. Lewis is in, and that is a set of mediums again for Lewis. Montana's going to come in as well, and Montana is going to be putting on a set of mediums as well. Is he going to be out ahead of Lewis? Not quite, but he's right on the back of him coming out of the pits, and this is going to be very interesting. Rafa's going an extra lap here. He will obviously respond, I think, to this and try and undercut, or try and do an overcut. In fact, Marquez is through now on P4, and in fact he's going to help out Lewis here, and that is cheeky by Marquez's. He lets through his teammate to hinder Montana's chances of a possible win. That is a good strategy call there by, I think, the Red Bull guys. Of course, there is a little bit of tension here with Marquez and Montana. There has been a little bit of contact with them previously in the race as Montana tries to hold his line. Marquez runs him out of room, but Montana's got the inside line, just pushes off Marquez slightly, but he's got the move done. That is fair racing. A little bit of wheel banging, but nothing too excessive, and Montana is through. Marquez has to give up on the tyres as well. He's 14 laps on those tyres. Obviously, he has rejoined the session, and that's just going to hinder his chances coming towards the end of the race. Lap 22 out of 26 as we see Montana half sliding it through the F section at the end of Sector 2. He picks up a 3-second time penalty as a result. Rafa is into the pits, picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is a shame for the German, who hasn't had his way and he hasn't had the pace on the front too. So that is just going to add to his woes. Is he saving up that 5-second stuff going in the pits? No, he's not. He comes past, Lewis has already passed, and Montana's already passed as well. Marquez is in, so Rafa's going to be coming out in free air, which I think will help the German, and he is a lap fresher on the tyres as well. With 13 laps to go, is Jume out in front, Cantera second, Lewis in third, Montana in fourth, Rafa and Owen HVB in fifth and sixth, Ex-Jarry, Marquez's, Rikirkic, Bullet Boy, Game Boys, Maledictus and Decky at this stage. And I do apologise in the meantime in advance for any names that I might have mispronounced. It is my first time here. I do have a very thick North East England accent, so I do apologise if I've been pronouncing anybody's names wrong. Rikirkic is probably one of those, and he's got a 3-second time penalty. His Bullet Boy has been overtaken, in fact, by Decky's AI. So Decky's AI is up to 12th. Justin Bell developing for 6th though. Ex-Jarry's right on the back of Owen HBB, and Owen HBB on the set of hard compounder tyres. He will get to the end, I would imagine. Ex-Jarry just popping down his ERS, 76% currently going into the stadium section. Confetti will be released in 12 laps time. Will it be for ILRT Lewis, who's 1.7 seconds clear of Montana in the net lead of the race? It's Jume out in front from Cantera, a Spanish 1-2 at this stage. The Spaniards will be happy, but we're getting close to a possible move here. And in fact, Rikirkic is coming under some sort of pressure from Marquez's as well, as we're going to see Ex-Jarry just waltz past Owen HVB down the straight. It's an easy move, and Ex-Jarry is up to P6. Owen HVB will try and fight this back, but never going to happen. And Ex-Jarry is through, and he's up to P6. So nice stuff there. As Marquez's coming past on Rikirkic as well, and this is for P8. So Marquez's is through, pulls away down the straight still. And he's got the measure of Rikirkic going into turn 1. So Marquez's is ahead, and he's up to P8. What could have been if he didn't disconnect? Obviously some sort of issues going on at this stage, which is an utter shame really, I think. It's a total and utter shame that this has been costed. Yeah, just having a look through, and there does seem to be some sort of thingy, and in fact I have a reason why Odem's Marquez's has had a why he went. He had a power cut. So Marquez is having a power cut halfway through the race, so the joys of checking Discord and trying to commentate at the same time there. So Marquez is having a power cut, costing him a potential podium, certainly a potential top 5, but a potential podium going out the window for him. We're on board with Maledictus at this stage. It's getting close to the Game Boys. Set of hards against a set of mediums. I think Maledictus could have him down the straight if he gets close enough. Of course, they're both teammates going forward in the league. Both in the Haas, the Rich Energy Haas. Of course, I don't think they're going to be naming Rich Energy for much longer after some of the controversy that's been caused on Twitter as in the last week or so for Stewart. Kojima in front, Cantera second. Are these guys going to try and go to the end of the race here, the two Spaniards? Going to be an interesting angle, but we're both with 10th and 11th. Maledictus right on the back of Game Boys. And Game Boys under pressure from Maledictus, and the Portuguese driver centres up an opportunity to try and get the move done here on his teammate, but not quite. Game Boys, of course, the Dutchman. Qualified in 5th, 14.2 was his lap time. Maledictus with a 14.5. Qualifying results are, of course, up in Discord as a result of the stream not being run. But it's a shame, really, that these guys have had to pick early. They had to pit quite early in the race. I think it was for damage, I'm pretty sure, early on. Bullet Boys picked up a 3-second time penalty just in behind these two guys. He's 5 seconds off. He was just coming into camera shot there. As the camera shot cut away and Maledictus runs wide into the stadium section. Got 11 laps to go. June leads, Cantera second, Lewis in third, and he's pulled 2.5 seconds, in fact, on Montana. And there is Montana, as Bullet Boy is retired from the session. So Bullet Boy at the race. We'll see where this is. I have a feeling this is at turn 16. I have a feeling this might be at turn 16. So Bullet Boy is at the race. Maledictus, in fact, is coming past on his teammate. So Maledictus is up to P10. Whoa, I thought Game Boys was going to come back at him there. Crowd goes wild for Maledictus as he passes his teammate and he's through to P10. More overtakes here than in real life F1. Game Boys, not going to catch him with the DRS open. And Bullet Boy, I do believe, did crash. So he did crash at that final corner, which is a shame. Nothing really much going on out on track. Of course, the two teammates are still sticking to each other, Maledictus and Game Boys, who has had his fair share of running at this stage. But June leading, Cantera second, Lewis in third, Montana in fourth, Rafa in fifth, your current top 5 out on track. This is the closest battle out on track, so we'll stick with this. Maledictus and Game Boys. Medium compound tyres, as I say, against a hard compound of tyres. Game Boys doing well to hang on, and maybe the hards are working in a much, are operating, in fact, in a much better temperature compared to the set of mediums that's ahead of him out on track. And with the DRS, he begins to close in and close in and close in. I don't think he's going to get quite close enough. He possibly could, in fact. He is going to be side by side down into the corner, and he gets the move done, does he, down the inside? Maledictus holds the inside line now through turn 2, just catches the curb slightly, catches the curb on the inside. Game Boys, it's side by side between the two Hasses. Lewis getting quite close to Cantera for second and third. And Game Boys, Maledictus down on the brakes, inside, contact! Slight contact, Maledictus maybe just going for a move that wasn't actually his, and Game Boys holds on for now. We'll cut to the battle for second as Cantera comes under some sort of pressure from Lewis, and of course Lewis trying to make his way through the field on a 2-stop strategy. He's going to waltz past Cantera down into turn 1, and the Brit has gone past the Spaniard, and that is for P2. So the Red Bull ahead of the Renault, and he's up to P2. 9 laps to go. June leading the way, Lewis in second now, Cantera in third. DRS once again operated. 3-second time penalty there for Lewis. We'll try and we'll pick up on board with the race director. In fact, I'll show you the race director now, because I don't think we've got anything going on out on track. June has picked up four time penalties, that's 12 seconds in total. Lewis has got 6 seconds. Cantera has got 6 seconds. Montana has got 9 seconds. Plenty of penalties being picked up here. Rafa has got 3-second time penalties and a 5-second stop go to be served at the end. So he's got 14 seconds. X-Jarry has got 2, so that's 6 seconds. Own HVB has got nothing. Marquez's has got a penalty and a 5 seconds, so that is 8 seconds worth of penalties there. Good to see the glitch is being fixed as well. Rikirkic has got 9 seconds. Maledictus has got 15 seconds worth of 5 3-second time penalties and a 5-second stop goal. And Game Boys has got 3 seconds, that's 9 seconds, and 14 seconds there. And you can ignore about Decky because it's been an AI most of this race. In fact, X-Jarry picks up a 3-second time penalty. Decky's AI is back into the pits. I don't know why he's into the pits, but that's very strange. I don't know. Race has gone a little bit boring now. Lewis has gone past Cantera and gaining. Montana not having the gap, not having the stint at all. But Jim out in front, Lewis in second, Cantera third, Montana in fourth. Not really responding to Lewis at all at this stage of the race. We thought Montana could have the pace to try and nick it from Lewis, but it looks like Lewis has got the break that he needed, and he's roughly 4 seconds ahead of Montana as we come through into the final couple of laps in this race. There's about another 7 laps to go here in League of Europe Division 1. And of course, I'll be very thrilled to commentate on the action for the rest of the season as well. Yes, you're going to be stuck with me for the 18 rounds in the season. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And if it's been as good as this, then I think every race will be clean and competitive, and that's what I like to see, and that's what I love to commentate on as well. But 7 laps to go. It's Jim out in front, 1.5 seconds that gap. Lewis's tyres will begin to start to edge away slightly in terms of the tyres. Cantera in third, Montana holding up about 50% of EOS at this stage. Just going on board with the leader, Joom holding up a little bit, way less. He's got about 20% coming through the first sector. Lewis on about double that, 50%. Cantera on 70% and Montana on 50%. So it looks like Cantera's holding up a lot of EOS here, possibly for the end of the race. But Lewis is getting closer to Joom, 1.5 seconds the gap. Maledictus and Game Boys still having a bit of a squabble. Their own private race at the end, at the back really, 10th and 11th for that final point. And in fact, they're running down the straight. And Game Boys run the outside on Maledictus. Good move. Game Boys is through on Maledictus. The two teammates battling here. They've got Rick Kirkic in the sights as well. He's on 16 that ball hard, so that might come into play coming towards the end of the race. As Maledictus now tries to go around the outside of Game Boys. Game Boys always going to hold the inside, but Maledictus down the inside, parks the car, spins it on the apex slightly. A little bit short of room, but Game Boys holds that position. Again, a bit of wheel banging. Montana getting closer to Cantera here running down the straight. And the Swiss man right on the back of the Spaniard. And it looks like Montana is going to try and get this move done, is he? No, he's not. He might back off, but Cantera obviously going to be trying to save up those tyres to the end. If he holds on ahead of Graffer, then I think it'll be a very good result from the two Spaniards. Joom holding on to the front, doing a great job, I've got to admit, as Montana is going to go down the inside here on Cantera. Cantera turns into him slightly. There are moves being made further down the order as well. Slight bit of ghosting going on there, but Cantera holds that position. Holding on for third at this stage. With Kirkic under pressure from Maledictus. Maledictus has got that move done. Now he's down the straight, so Rick Kirkic has been hounded, and he's been passed in fact by both Hassers. It was inevitable, it was going to come, and now it's happened. So I began to struggle towards the end of this commentary. Joom, with 5 laps to go, leads the way, but for how long? Lewis right on the back. He has got a revving out glitch going on here, which is a shame, as a total revving out glitch. 4.5 tenths running down the straight. Joom come down into the straight. Montana's right on the back of Cantera as well. Montana is going to get Cantera down the inside, and Montana positions the car very nicely, the Williams, and he's through and he's up to P3. Cantera just hanging on in there, but Montana with the power, and Joom and Lewis go side by side. Lewis round the outside of turn 5, gets the move done. Much better on the traction, and Lewis is into the lead of the race. Great move. Very good stuff. As I really start to struggle towards the end of this commentary. Why you should have a drink with you at all times. Rick Kirkic is into the pits, going for a set of softs and possibly for a fastest lap of the race. Of course, fastest lap points is on offer, but only for the top 10, I do believe. But Lewis is out in front, Joom in second. 5 seconds needed that gap between Lewis and Montana. But lap 33 out of 36, 4 more laps to go. Lewis leads, Joom in second. He is getting closer, DRS enabled. Don't think he's going to go for the move here. He could. He's centering it. He's centering it, Doom. Lewis defends the inside line. But Lewis holds on. Lewis holding on. Doom's still in there. He's still pitching in there. The Renault driver, the Spaniard, trying to get him. Cantera's trying to stick to Montana as well. He's a second off Montana. Come down into turn 4. Slight lock up there by Lewis. Nothing major. And he holds on to the lead. So Lewis leading the way, Druman second, Montana, Cantera third and fourth. And Lewis hanging on. Oh, Maledictus has retired. Maledictus has retired. I think that was in the pits where he retired that. So Maledictus has retired out on track. Not sure the reasoning behind it, but certainly something happening there. Let's just have a look at some of the messages. Yeah, nothing really coming through regarding anything at this stage, but Doom getting very close to Lewis. He's still right there, Doom. He's still right there. The Spaniard not giving up without a fight here, and the ILRT driver has got to be careful, Lewis. The leader has got to be careful, because Doom is right on his coattails, as you can see from this camera angle. Kirkic picks up a 3-second time penalty. He comes through. Final 3 laps, penultimate lap about to come up, and Lewis is leading 0.8 of a second. Juman second, Montana in third, then it's Cantera in fourth, Rafa in fifth, Xjavi sixth, Marquez is seventh. If he didn't have that power cut, then goodness knows what could have been. Own HVB in 8th, Game Boys in 9th, with Kirkic in 10th. We've got Decky in 11th as well, but that's just an AI car going around there on track. 2 laps to go. Lewis looks like he has got the measure out at this stage. He looks very good at the moment, the Brit. Cantera was briefly closing on Montana. I don't know why that showed up as 9/10 of a second. It's now 1.5 seconds. I think it's just a bit of a glitch going on possibly with the timings. But Lewis out in front. Juman second, Montana in third, Cantera out in fourth place at this stage. And I've got to be honest, it's been a purely dominant drive from Lewis. He's had the pace, he's had the measure of Montana, who was set up for second place, but the Spaniard strategy, Juman Cantera, last in this one stop, really comes to show that we are going to be in for a really good season in Division 1. Of course, we go to Australia next week for round 1 of the championship, and I cannot wait to introduce once again, hopefully on a stream this time, the racing that will unfold out on track, and it's going to be quite some season with the level of driving talent that we have got here in League of Europe. Come through the stadium section for the multiple time. 1.2 seconds the gap, Lewis, Doom, and I think it's going to stick like that pretty much towards the end. No DRS going to be enabled here for Doom, sadly. He will have the speed running down the straight. He could sense up an opportunity. Of course, Hungary next week. I hope to be back in time for the commentary. That will happen. Doom is in second at this stage. Montana in third. There's going to be hardly any changes, I don't think, apart from penalties going to be applied. I don't think there's going to be any changes to the positioning here. But Lewis, masterful drive, but Doom with the tactics. Try to pull off the one stop, and he's doing such a good job to hold on to the coattails of Lewis and to try and get him into the final sector they come. Into the final lap they come, even through the middle sector. Lewis will take this win, barring any incidents coming through the S section. Really the trickiest corners now out on track. They're coming through, and Lewis just makes it look very easy. Makes it look like it's lap 1 all over again. And it's just been purely impressive from the ILRT driver, and full credit of course must go to the ILRT team for supporting this driver, Lewis Welsh, And Lewis doing a great job. The confetti is in the air. Is he going to be holding on to the lead? Slight slide out the final 2 corners. But Lewis is going to come across the line. And Lewis will be Division 1 winner here in Mexico. He takes the win. June with the penalties is going to drop down behind Montana possibly here. The Williams driver coming across the line to finish in 3rd. And he gets 2nd on penalties. Cantera across the line gets June on penalties as well. Rafa gets a 5-second penalty, getting served at the end. Jerry across the line, jumps Rafa on the penalties. Marquez's, if it wasn't for that power cut, what could have happened? He's going to come across the line in 7th place and just totally bins it into the wall. No surprise there. Owen HVB slightly sideways out the final corner. He's going to come across the line in 8th. Game Boys is going to be across the line in 9th. I'm going to have Rick Kirkic as well for 10th. Fastest lap, by the way. The fastest lap went to Marquez's. 15.4 for Marquez's, well ahead of Lewis with a 16.1. Game Boys across the line in 9th. Rick Kirkic coming through the stadium section. I was going to say the castle section there. I don't know why. It's not Azerbaijan. Rick Kirkic then coming across the line. The Finnish driver will come across the line in 10th place. And that is your result here in League of Europe. And we'll give you a rundown of the order as it stands when... Have a look. And just to respond to you from Dakar on Discord, driving etiquette is good in this league for the most part, but some people are too eager at the start. Yeah, to be honest, it is a pre-season race still, and obviously there is still issues to be ironed out and driving to be ironed out as well. But next week is the season start in Australia, and we cannot wait as Lewis takes the win here, and Montana getting 2nd, Juman 3rd in the end on the penalties. And possibly, I think Jume is going to get my drive of the day here, to be honest. Really feel that Jume has done a great job. We'll confirm the order now. So then, at the end of a dramatic Mexican Grand Prix, especially on the penalties, for goodness me, I don't think any single person hasn't got a penalty. Lewis has taken the win here. Montana in 2nd, they say as they are. Cantera in 3rd, jumping Jume on the penalties. However, Jume, purely because of his strategy, will get driver of the day for me. Xjari in 5th, and Rafa in 6th. Marquez is 7th, Owen HVB in 8th, Game Boys in 9th, Kirkic in 10th, Decky in 11th, Maledictus in 12th, Bullet Boy in 13th, V5HRL in 14th, and Larkin in 15th. Nobody, and I repeat, nobody didn't get any penalties. Everyone got some sort of penalty in this race. Absolutely unbelievable.